Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Erskine the Prophet here today to do another video. This video is not gonna be pleasant at all. In fact, this video is gonna be rough. I'm gonna warn y'all now. This video is titled, Black People Have Historically Been Brutalized, Terrorized, and Murdered in This Country. And I just wanna say right off the bat, I'm not here to reopen old wounds or sow any divisions. I'm not racist in any way. I'm not prejudiced in any way. I'm not a bigot in any way. I don't believe in those concepts at all. But I do believe people need to be educated and made aware of just the hell that Black people had to deal with since they've been in this country, man. And honestly, some of these things are even new to me. I wasn't even aware of all of the things I'm going to talk about tonight. So as these things have been brought to light to me, I feel the responsibility to bring them to light to you. And I just want to say, to any white people who may be watching this video, I know some of y'all are going to be just as horrified as I was, just as upset as I was, when y'all hear these things that y'all might not be aware of. And I'm pretty sure Black people are going to be pretty upset as well, as I bring some of these things to light and talk about them in a way that I really don't think they've been talked about. I first want to say, if you just go back to slavery, when they went over to Africa, brought these people over here, that didn't know where the heck they was at. And also keep in mind that these people that they brought over here, they didn't think of them as human. They thought of them as lower than animals, to be honest. If it was different, if they thought of them as humans, slavery wouldn't have lasted but maybe about 20, 30 years, because there's no way you could have a conscience and treat a human being the way that Black people were treated in this country. In fact, there's a movie that I watched a couple of years ago. It was about Nat Turner and the slave rebellion. I can't think of the name of the movie, but I would tell all of y'all to watch that movie because it showed a lot of what was happening to slaves, during that time. Like one of the scenes in the beginning of the movie, there was a slave who wouldn't eat. So the slave master took a pipe and knocked all his teeth out and then stuck a tube down his throat and forced him to eat that way. I mean, just think about that. That's the shit that Black people was going through. You know what I'm saying? And that wasn't like a rare occurrence. You know what I mean? Then another scene in the movie, there was a slave master who had these slaves, and two of the slaves were married. And then his white friend came over and wanted to have sex with the Black man's wife. And the slave master ended up letting them do it. And as you probably, can assume, that the Black slave wasn't too happy about, this man raping his wife. And I want to just speak on that. I'm going to tell y'all, Black males in this country, their lives had no value whatsoever at all. But the Black women they weren't treated quite like the males, but they were preyed upon in a very sexual way. Meaning, man, these Black women were raped left and right. You know what I'm saying? Black women, Black teenagers, Black children, I'm sure, were molested and raped as well. And I'm sure this was a big part of the culture. And what could they do? What could they do? I mean, who are they going to tell? I mean, they go tell their parents, they kill the parents or starve the parents or do something. You know what I'm saying? So the Black women were in a position where they could not do anything. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something else, though. In fact, no, I'm going to hold on to that for a minute. Let me hold on to that. But I'm going to just say that the slaves were treated horribly, meaning they weren't even considered people, which is why they were treated the way they were treated. Now, I'm going to tell you something else. Like the Black men who actually served in the houses were castrated, meaning they had their nuts cut off. They cut these men's nuts off. They go to Africa, bring them over here and cut their nuts off to enslave them so that they can serve in a house. These are the things that Black people went through. And I'm going to tell you, as bad as that Nat Turner movie was, that wasn't even as bad as it really was. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to go, now, you know what? Before I jump to post-slavery and when really all of the Black people started being killed all throughout the South, because keep in mind, they really couldn't kill slaves. because slaves were an investment. So what they did was they whipped the shit out the slave. I mean, they whipped the skin off your back. You know what I mean? But they really couldn't kill you. I mean, unless you just really messed up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you would have to have raped a white woman pretty much to be killed, which I'm gonna also touch on that because, you know, in fact, you know what? Let me stop. Let me put some pictures up here. I want to just give y'all an idea of what was really going on, so y'all can see this for yourself. Now, most of these pictures are actually going to be post-slavery. I really just wanted to kind of give y'all an idea of what the slaves really went through, because to be honest, we know the slavery was bad, but we really have no idea how truly evil slavery was in this country. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how slaves were treated, you know, throughout history. I'm sure it wasn't good either. But the way slaves were treated in this country, I'm gonna tell y'all, you know what? And I don't mean to be offensive here, but I have to tell y'all this. I have to say this because it's the truth. Southern white people were probably the most evil, reprehensible, vile people that have ever existed on this planet Earth. Yes, your grandparents, I mean, well, not your grandparents, your great-great-great-grandparents, yeah, they were some evil, racist MFers. I mean, these people were evil on a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? As you can see these pictures, you know what I'm saying? This is the stuff they were doing to black people. And it was so vile and reprehensible, the things that they were doing. For instance, in Texas, they found thousands of postcards with dead, mutilated black bodies on them that people were buying. People were purchasing these things. And not only that, like they would kill black males. Like I said, this was now post-slavery. Most of the people that were killed were black males. I mean, some black females may have been killed here and there, but they didn't really torture and mutilate the black females. They may have hung them, but the black males, I mean, they were cooking these niggas. They were cutting on. Yo, you would see pictures on these postcards of bodies hanging there, hanging by a rope with no arms, no legs, no head. Like, I'm gonna tell y'all a story in a minute about a guy that was brutally tortured and murdered. But before I get to that, I want to explain to y'all why these things were happening to black people or black males specifically. And just kind of let y'all know where that came from. Oh, but actually, before I even get to that, let me get back to the vile, evil Southern white people. Let me just hit on that a little bit more for y'all real quick. I'm gonna tell y'all just how evil these people were. These people were so evil that even Abigail Adams, the wife of former President John Adams, she wrote in her letters that she hated Southern white people and that she would much rather deal with the black people. She found them to be much more pleasant than the Southern white people. Nobody liked Southern white people. Northern white people hated Southern white people. In fact, to be honest, Northern white people hated Southern black people as well. And you know, just in case anybody, you know, may have misunderstood the North's position, the North were just as racist, if not more racist, than the South. The North did not want black people anywhere in the South, which is why they invented the machines in the first place to do the work, because they did not want black people in the North at all. Now, some of this may have been because of an inferiority complex that I'm gonna talk about in just a few minutes, and some of it may have been because if you think about it, the only culture that black people knew in this country were what they learned from them Southern whites. And because of that, the North didn't want to have anything to do with Southern whites or Southern blacks. So after, you know, so basically after slavery, when, you know, slaves thought they were gonna march their asses up north and they beat our asses back down south, yeah, they didn't want black people anywhere in the North. Now, the difference is because they weren't as uncivilized as these white Southern whites, you know, instead of them brutalizing us, they just had the police brutalize us, you know, and that was pretty much where police brutality came from the North, because, you know, they would just brutalize us. So yeah, the North hated the South, and you know, the Southern whites and the Southern blacks, but everybody hated the Southern whites because they were just so vile, man. These were some evil ass people. You know what I'm saying? The things they did, the blacks during slavery and post-slavery, man, it's just like no civilized. there is no other race of people that I could think of that has done these kind of things. I can't even think of other white people that have done these kind of things. You know what I'm saying? I can't think of anybody else in this whole world that has been as vile and cruel and evil as these Southern white people. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know, these people were really, really messed up, sick, twisted. You know what I'm saying? Let me go to post-slavery, when they were lynching and hanging, you know, black people all across the South, pretty much all, you know, black males. You know, they would have, like, white people would congregate in the thousands. Man, and if you think I'm lying, man, Google it. Just look it up. You know, if you weren't able to see it in the pictures I provided, but they would gather by the thousands, like 10,000, 15,000 people out there to watch them torture and kill these black people. They would have their children out there and everything. Yo, I mean, like 5, 6-year-old kids out there watching black people get cooked on a tree. You know what I'm saying? Or get cut to pieces on a tree. Yo, the kids would even be out there snapping teeth out the heads. And, yo, it just was some real vile, evil shit that, yo, this is just almost unimaginable. But let me explain to y'all where this hatred comes from and how, you know, how a people could be so hateful and evil towards another race of people. And the reason for that is because of the black man's, you know, superior muscular physique, and because of the black man's huge, gigantic penis. That's where this hatred comes from. This is what you call sexual hatred. Sexual hatred is the most powerful hatred in the entire world. I'm not gonna take time to explain that, but just think about it and it'll, you know, it should click for you. But in this case, we're gonna be more specific and say dick hatred. Dick hatred is why these white people hated these black males so much. It was an inferiority complex. It was an inadequacy complex of these big black, muscular black men with these big ass dicks, putting these big ass dicks in their white wives and their white daughters and their white mothers and their white sisters, you know, and so on and so forth. That's what this hatred was about, them big black dicks. And I'm not trying to be vulgar, I'm not trying to be funny. I swear to God, I'm telling y'all the honest to God's truth. That's where this hatred stemmed from. That's why they would kill black teenagers, young black teenagers out there mutilated. It wasn't just the men. They was out there killing teenagers. They would, and I'm gonna tell y'all where this came from. You remember how I was telling y'all about how the white men would rape these black women and these black teenagers and these black girls? Well, I'm gonna tell y'all somebody who didn't really like that no more than the black people did, and that was white women. White women didn't like that shit no more than, you know, we did. But they were powerless at this point because at this point in time, white women had no power at all. The only people that had any power in this country were white men. So if a white woman was upset, all she could do is stay upset. Because if she tried to go say something, she would get her face caved in just like anybody else would. So the way they started getting back at these white men, they started fucking Mandingo. Exactly. Yeah, that's what happened. They started fucking these black guys. Now, the thing is, if they got caught fucking these black guys, what they will automatically say is that they were raped. Automatically. Because if they didn't, they would be killed on the spot, along with the black. They would be killed just like the black dude. So, anytime, it got to the point that if a black man looked at a white woman funny and she wanted to fuck him up, all she had to say was that this black man raped her or tried to rape her. Or you know what I'm saying? That's how bad it was. So, the reason why so many black males got killed across the South was because of white women. It is what it is. And, you know, to put it in perspective for you, if a black man killed a white woman, the penalty would probably be less severe than if a black man raped a white woman. If a black man raped a white woman, not only would he be, you know, tortured, mutilated, you know, and killed, probably every black person they saw within a 20-mile radius would be killed as well. You know what I'm saying? And if you think I'm playing, once again, there's another movie called Rosewood. Go watch Rosewood and look at, the white woman accused a black man of raping her, and they killed every black man they could find for counties. Because, and what was crazy is nobody didn't even rape this white woman. She was having an affair with a white dude and just lied about it. And that's what white women would do. And that's why this shit got so bad. Because if a white woman did anything or got into anything, all she had to do was say it was because of a black man. And all she had to do was say a black man did this or a black man did that. And next thing you know, the lynch mob was on his ass and everybody else black ass, for miles around. So, because these white men, couldn't keep their dicks in their pants and wanted to fuck these black women and these black girls, white women, just like, okay, let's play that game. And women will always beat men at that game anyway. So, as white women started having sex with Mandingo and white men started finding out. Now, keep in mind, after Mandingo goes up in your wife, it ain't no going behind that. You know what I'm saying? Now, just imagine, you come home to have sex with your wife and her vagina is now like the Grand Canyon and it wasn't like that before. You know what happened. You know what it is. And then you probably gonna kill every black man you can find. Because this was post-slavery pretty much. You know what I'm saying? And that's what they would do. That's what would happen. You know what I'm saying? And that inadequacy and inferiority, is what led to them wanting to slaughter every black male in the entire South. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it was. That was the situation that black males had to deal with. And it wasn't even just white women doing it. A white man could kill his white wife and then blame that on a black man, which I'm going to tell you a story in a minute, which is what I believe happened. There was a boy named Jesse Washington who lived in Texas. This was around 1916. And this couple, the Friars, had hired Jesse to work for them. Now, about 5 days later, they found Lucy Fryer's body dead in the house. Like they said somebody had beat her to death with a blunt instrument. And then they said she was also raped. So the police do an investigation. Now, of course, Jesse Washington, 17 years old, mentally retarded, black kid, just hired to work there. 5 days later, the wife ends up dead. They go to Jesse's house to question. No, somebody said they saw Jesse near the house after this happened. So they go to Jesse's house to question him, and they notice he has bloody clothes on. And then they take him in and question him. They also take his family in and question them as well. Somehow they get a confession out of Jesse. Jesse says he killed her because of an argument with some mules or something. So they hide Jesse so that a lynch mob can't get to him. Jesse goes to court, and the jury finds him guilty. Now, one thing I find odd is that they said that Miss Fryer was raped, but they didn't mention it, during the court proceedings, which I found odd. And I'm gonna come back to that, but they never mentioned that she was raped in the court proceedings. Anyway, the jury found him guilty. Somebody in the courtroom yells, "Get that nigger!" And then the people in the court somehow get past the police or whatever, and they kick Jesse down the courthouse steps. They get him outside. They strip him down naked. They beat him. They stab him. They take him to a tree. They dump coal oil all over him. Coal oil is flammable. They set a fire to the tree. They wrap a chain around Jesse's neck, not a rope, a chain, and they hoist Jesse in the air, butt naked, stabbed up, so that everybody can see. There are about probably 15,000 people out here to watch this, including children. The mayor's out there, the police chief is out there, everybody's out there. And just so y'all know, in Texas, lynching was illegal. So even though it was illegal, everybody pretty much stood there and watched this happen. But anyway, they wrapped the chain around Jesse's neck, hoist him in the air for everybody to see. They start dropping him in the fire. He tries to climb out of the fire, so they cut his fingers off so that he can't climb up the chain anymore. They cut his toes off. Then they laid him down and cut his dick off. And then as he's bleeding out, they kept dropping him in and out of the fire. Right when they thought he was about to die, they pull him out of the fire until eventually he was just a burnt up crisp of a person on that tree. They said the kids came around and snapped the teeth out of his head, you know. And this was probably one of the most evil, heinous things to have ever happened to a human being in this country. You know, once again done by those lovely Southern white people, you know. No offense to white people living today. You know, it is what it is. I know this wasn't Sean, but those people back, your relatives were some evil motherfuckers, man. You know, excuse my language. But yeah, so anyway, you know, they go ahead and kill Jesse in this horrible manner. Just so you know, every newspaper around the country condemned this. But pretty much the mayor, the police chief, everybody let the mob do what they want to this 17-year-old mentally challenged black boy. Now, I want to tell y'all something. Somebody came and done an investigation into this, and they said that they believe Jesse did kill Lucy Fryer. That was her name. I'm going to tell y'all, I don't believe Jesse killed her. Or if Jesse did kill her, it was at the behest of Mr. Fryer, her husband. Because keep in mind, you know, who would hire a mentally challenged black guy, you know, and then 5 days later his wife ends up dead? Who would hire a mentally challenged black guy in the first place? You know what I'm saying? Now, another thing is, they said that she was raped after she was killed. Now, I'm gonna tell you this. Now, let's say Jesse did kill her. Let's say she threatened him in a way that made him, you know, automatically panic, and he killed her, took out. You know, she might have threatened him, to tell her husband he tried to rape her or something like that, and he knew that, you know, they would try to kill him, so he killed her. You know, or let's say Mr. Fryer had you know, somehow coerced Jesse into killing his wife for him, which to me might have been the most likely scenario in my opinion. But I'm gonna say this. Now, let's use a little common sense here. What black man is gonna kill a white woman and then wait around and have sex with the dead body? To be honest, you know, that's not something black people do anyway. I'm not saying it's impossible. That's not something we really into, to be honest, that I'm aware of. I've never known of my homies wanting to fuck dead bodies. So I'm gonna assume that that's not a big thing in the black community. So that right there was odd. Then the fact, now he supposedly raped this woman, but they didn't bring it up in court. Now I'm gonna tell you why I don't think they brought it up in court. Because I believe when they checked the evidence, they realized he wasn't the one that raped her. And it was more than likely Mr. Fry had raped the dead body. So I believe that's why they didn't bring it up in court. Now, another thing that didn't make any sense to me, okay, they go to Jesse's home, Jesse's in bloody clothes. Now, call me crazy, but if you just killed a white woman and you're a black guy, man, more than likely you're gonna get out of those bloody clothes. Your family is gonna tell you to get out of those bloody clothes. So the fact that he still had bloody clothes on, if he even had bloody clothes on at all, and, you know, was real suspect to me. So, you know, when I think about these things, to be honest, I don't even think he killed that woman. I think he was set up to be killed in the most horrible, brutal fashion imaginable. This is some shit you wouldn't even see in a horror movie. I haven't seen horror movies as brutal, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't believe Jesse did it, and then he was killed in the most horrible way possible. But the whole point is, this is the things that black people had to go through, and specifically black males in terms of the torture, mutilation, and murder, but black women and black females in terms of sexual assault, left and right. You know what I'm saying? Sexual deviancy, sexual predation, left and right is what black women had to go through. So I'm sure some of them wish they were dead. You know what I mean? So these are the things that black people had to go through in this country. And I want to say that I'm not saying this to divide us any further or to cause any problems between black and white people. But what I really want to use this opportunity. I want you to take this time and the opportunity to encourage people to look back at look back at it. And if you're white, understand why black people are so messed up in this country. And if you're black, understand why you're so messed up in this country. You know what I'm saying? We have gone through holy hell in this country since the times we were dragged over here, through the slavery, through the terrorism in the South, through the laws that were meant, just written to keep us down. Things like the Negro Project to kill us in our own communities. I mean, we have just been through it. And what I'm saying is, I never used to believe in reparations. Now I believe in reparations. I believe, black people are definitely owed reparations without a shadow of a doubt. They are owed reparations in this country. But even beyond that, because I don't blame anybody living today for things that happened 100 years ago, but I do say, understanding that your relatives terrorized us and murdered us, you know what I'm saying? Maybe, it's time for the government to step up and really give African Americans in this country a helping hand, just to help them really take a step forward. And another thing is, I want to take the time to say is that I would really like to see relations between blacks and whites improve. I want to see things get better, because for as many hateful, evil, piece of shit white people there were also good, decent white people that have helped us in our struggles. Our civil rights struggle, there was a lot of people, white people standing right beside us, fighting with us the whole way. And they sacrificed a lot, including their own lives at times, to help us win that battle. Just in the same way that many black people, went and fought wars, fought these wars weren't for black people, but black people went over and gave their lives right beside their white counterparts in these wars many, many times. You know what I'm saying? So everything hasn't always been bad between blacks and whites. So what, in fact, what's even funny? I was thinking about this. When white girls started wearing Uggs, man, black girls started wearing Uggs. When white girls started wearing Vans, black girls started wearing Vans. When white girls started wearing Crocs, black girls started wearing Crocs. Shit, I'm even seeing black girls wearing Birkenstocks. I never ever thought I would see that in my life. But hey, I see black girls wearing Birkenstocks. Now, on the flip side, you more so, when it comes to the males, you more so see the white males imitating the black males, as opposed to black males imitating white males. If a black male turn his hat to the back, white male turn his hat to the back. Black guy let his pants sag, white guy let his pants sag. So you see it the reverse in the males than what you see in the females. And I only bring all of this up is to say there's admiration there. Meaning that, you wouldn't copy somebody if you didn't admire something about them. And the point of that is a point where we can come together. You know what I'm saying? Let me explain to y'all, black people and white people. The way the world is now, we really have to get to a point where we have to put this stupid, dumbass division behind us. You know what I'm saying? Once upon a time, there was dick hatred. There was an inferiority complex. Now, you got a lot of white guys with big dicks and a lot of black guys with little dicks. So dick hatred is not even a fact anymore. The only hatred we're dealing with now is hatred based on ignorance and stupidity. So that kind of hatred can be overcome a lot easier than the other hatred. So we have to come together. First and foremost, we both speak the same language. White people speak primarily English. Black people primarily speak English. You know what I'm saying? With all these people we let in this country, you know what I'm saying? We may have to really get to a point where we got to stick together. We got to come together and stick together. I know we were brought over here by force, but at the same time, we have had to adapt to the culture of this country. Now, I understand a lot of black people aren't patriotic. But based on what I told you in this video, it should be pretty easy to understand why they aren't patriotic. You know what I'm saying? You're terrorized, brutalized, murdered. You may not feel so patriotic. But really, to be honest, that really needs to change because we're not living in that time anymore. You know, it's not 1916 anymore. It's 2020. And it's really time to step forward and let this stuff go. I'm not saying we don't deserve reparations because we do. We absolutely deserve it. You know what I'm saying? But even beyond that, whether we get them or not, it don't mean that we got to keep taking steps backwards. It's time to take steps forward. And I'm going to tell y'all, we really need to do that. You know, we need your help, white people. You know what I'm saying? We're going to need it. You know what I'm saying? To really help us really ingrain ourselves in the culture of this country. Because the way things have gone up to this point, it can't go on no more. We really have to change it. It is for the benefit of everybody if black people actually recognize their potential. It's for the benefit of black people. And believe it or not, it's for the benefit of white people too. Let me tell you why. Take a look at all of the cities around this country. All of them. Every last single one of them. The major cities. Now, think about the crime rates in these cities. Is that the kind of country we really want to have? Is it really supposed to be like that? You know what I'm saying? Is that how we want to live? And at what point, if we like it and we think it's cool, it's all good. I live in a nice area. I live in Columbia, Maryland, lovely place. I don't have to even deal with that. But, for those of you that do you want to continue living like that, or do you want to see something change? I think something should change. I think it's ridiculous that all of our cities are murder traps. I think that's insane. But it's not going to change if people don't change. And I think it's really time for black people in this country to truly live up to their potential. You know what I'm saying? Not just the basketball players and the rappers and the singers, but, all of the scientists we have buried in those communities, all of the doctors, the lawyers, the engineers, you know what I'm saying? We have a lot of those that they aren't getting the opportunities or the chance to live up to their potential. So I'm going to end the video and say there has been a lot of bad history in this country, but we don't have to have a bad future. We can come together. We can work together. I wanted to expose y'all to what had happened, but I also want to tell y'all that it don't have to be like that. It's not like that anyway anymore. But going forward, you know what I'm saying? It's time to come together. It really is. Enough is enough. We have a shared history in this country. And it's time to really do the right things and stop doing the dumb, stupid things. Like I said, I'm not a racist, a bigot. I'm not prejudiced at all. I accept good people and bad people regardless of their color, their sexual orientation, their gender. I don't give a damn about none of that. If you good, you good. You bad, you bad. And primarily, if you righteous and you cool, you down with me. If you not, you won't be. It is what it is. So on that note, everybody, I'm going to ask y'all to please like this video. Please, please, please like the video. Please subscribe if you haven't. And please comment. If you got anything to say about this, if you have any opinions and any feelings, by all means, please share them with me. I promise you I will respond. On that note, I love you all. Stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy. Peace.